I remember the good old days. When I wasn't playing Barbie games, I was watching Monster High content. Remember how their school lockers were shaped like coffins and how every girl was called a ghoul? Remember how literally every Monster High name was a pun? Damn, that's some good stuff. Nowadays, I don't actually keep up with Monster High that much, so my opinions can be summarized as me really liking G1 fashion, but preferring G3 body types and molds. Anyways, my goal is to not talk about Monster High Original or anything that's going on up there. My goal is to design a completely new cast of characters for Monster High. And that's a bit ambitious, isn't it? That'd be like 5 to 6 characters. But you know what? I believe in myself. So let's start with the Manananggal, a Filipino monster. Also, just a disclaimer here, I might mispronounce some words. I mispronounce words in all of my languages. English, Chinese, Filipino, Tagalog, and Bisaya. Oof. And you know what? That's okay. Anyways, moving on. Let me explain to you what a Manananggal is. The Manananggal is a creature from Philippines. Now, in the day, it's just a regular old woman, but at night, it splits at half at the stomach. So, the half of the head grows bat wings and it flies off to go and eat people. Or more like, drink people, because it has a very long straw-like tongue. Anyways, like of Draculara, we're going to have to remove that for the sake of our imaginary doll line's marketability. I'm just gonna say that she drinks a lot of fruit smoothies. Now that we have that imaginary PR disaster out of the way, it's time to decide her personality and fashion style. Because we also have 5 other characters to design, and we must make sure to reduce overlap between them. Her personality is very simple. She's mellow and sweet, and she's the prep. And when it comes to the fashion design, well, because this is a Monster High character, we must take into account various trends. I don't want to try and accurately channel the energy of any of the generation's fashion senses, because I don't think I could, and honestly, for some generations, I don't want to. So I hope you don't mind me going and doing my own thing here. But here's some things I have to take note of course. Monster High characters tend to be at least slightly edgy, may have monstrous features, sometimes have odd skin tones, and incorporate at least a little black into their design. The main cast of characters in G1 were pretty distinct, and you couldn't really categorize their fashion sense very clearly, so that's not really a problem. For her fashion sense, I was thinking something lacy and cute, but ever so slightly edgy would be great. My thought process could be summarized like this. Bat wings. Bats eat fruits. Girls eat fruits. Girls love strawberries. Strawberries are red. Blood is red. Jam is red? Question mark, question mark? And yeah, that was literally it, my guys. Yeah. Anyways, I added in a lot of dripping pinkish red as a new motif. So that would be symbolic of both blood and strawberry jam. I also stylized the strawberries into hearts because I thought that maybe instead of being a literal man-eater, she would just be a figurative one. Or maybe she would just like have a lot of people having crushes on her and she would just break their hearts every time. Now, her outfit is slightly inspired by Filipiniana fashion, or the Maria Clara dress specifically, which has the ponelo tied around the neck. It's sort of like a neckerchief. I incorporated that into design. I wanted to use that in the design, but I didn't want to make it an actual panuelo or make it look like a sailor shirt for fear of her kind of looking like a weeb. So, yeah. Anyways, I just did some iterations, obviously. I blocked in the character, like a little blob. That's why she has no fingers. And that's why her face is just a doodle. So for her skin, right, I knew that I wanted her to be slightly human, but like just some things a bit off of her. So she's like a light brown, but like she's a bit more red than she should be. Unless you're that single, in that case, I'm sorry that I said that you're a bit more red than you should be. I'm sorry. So I wanted her to look fun and preppy, so we're gonna have to go with lace. I decided to make her outfit actually have a lot of white in it and a lot of green. I had so much fun with the initial iterations. So for the first outfit, we're going for something especially cutesy and sort of school uniform like. So I saw these strawberry leg warmers on Pinterest and I thought they were so cute. But I feel like one thing that happens with artists that use Pinterest a lot, especially character design artists, is that sometimes you'll come across your art and you'll be like, I'm pretty sure I've seen the exact reference you're using. So I decided to go and change the leg warmers to white strawberries with jam dripping down them to be more original. And of course I just had to make the seeds and the hearts. I paired them with Mary Jane's, a true classic, and I had them be high heels because Monster High. Hey, remember the time they had a character who had a high heel built into her prosthetic? Good times. She had a tie blouse and a strawberry brooch and a pleated skirt with maybe more lace and poof than appropriate for something that's supposed to be slightly edgy. She feels very country schoolgirl with a tad of Y2K in there. Then we just put some lace on her head and yep, we're done. Now for the second design. I ended up with something a bit more cowgirl-like, which is definitely not what I'm going for because I actually want to reserve that look for a completely different character. I gave her a longer ponytail, which was nice, gave her a bit of a more mature aura. The batwing tie was cool, but it felt too familiar. The blouse was really nice though, and I liked the broken heart brooch a lot. The skirt was weird and complex and honestly great for a Monster High doll, but I think it doesn't fit. I added in spiders or aphids onto the skirt for a bit of a spook factor, the same way I added the jam dripping from the socks. The ladybug boots are cute too, but they don't stick to the motifs well enough, I think. So I'm just gonna scrap all the insects and that will be safe for maybe a different character for another day, who knows. The last design was obviously me running out of fuel, so it was just not fitting the vibes, man. I mean, I did figure out something. I did come up with some good ideas, like the hair color. I think the red and the pink in stripes are really good with the black. I also tried a dripping jam pattern on the skirt, which is actually a good idea because, you know, her torso comes off. But I just don't like the scallop. I think the ballet flats with cherries are nice, so maybe I'll save that for a different character for another day. The angel sleeves with the monochrome green just feel off. Something about the silhouette just doesn't really feel like a good prep character fit. Feels kind of like hippie for some reason. Her smaller wings here would certainly be more convenient to draw and definitely more cost effective in an actual doll, but I just preferred something more robust. Now we move on to the final design. I do a bust because I want to draw her face in detail and I can't do that on a tiny little full body face. Fun fact! I make a lot of my art in the exact dimensions of a YouTube video because I like to watch my time lapses and animatics in full screen on my laptop. Okay, and then I have 2 full bodies for 2 outfits, adapted from the previous iterations. This is because I'm very indecisive, but also because I need something to fill up all that empty space. As always, I was having the worst time with the starting sketch, which is always supremely difficult. But one hard thing for me was making the background. Grey backgrounds are useful not only because they are simple, but because they tend not to make characters look too bright or dark, which happens with white or black backgrounds. But I wanted to make my time-lapse look fun, and I also wanted to make my character sheet look fun, so I always come up with a more special background. Usually this just means slapping a paper texture on a cream color, but this time I was like, we need to channel the Monster High vibes here, so I was like, okay. So I settled on a mixture of a flower pattern with a plaid pattern, which is a bit of an overkill, but never mind. Let's just go settle in with the maximalism here. Besides, I've seen what other artists do and I'm definitely not on that far end of the maximalism scale. So for her body type, she's average because she's the first character. I will do more slender and fat and muscular and toned characters in the future, but for our first character, let's just have her have the sort of body you'd see on someone just passing by on the street. In my first doodle, I wrote that I wanted her to have both a crop top and a low-rise combo because, you know, to show off her stomach, which would have a really long scar on it. I think that would be interesting to see because usually you see low-rise bottoms on very slender people, but I decided against it because, frankly, I just don't really like low-rise bottoms. Sorry. Now, let me briefly explain my art process. First, I need to make sure that the base is rendered correctly. This is because we can't change 2 bodies to be the same without it being a massive hassle. Then each clothing item has its own layer or its own group layer so we can change things more easily. So I changed my layers by using the select layer option on a hotkey. That's for Clip Studio Paint, so that's my best friend. If you can change your hotkeys, change your hotkeys. I must make sure to change the lineup for her torso and stuff properly so I don't have to trace so much and then blend out the black more often. It's so tedious. Then I add in some blending here and there with everything, you know what I'm saying. Now I know that I said that the Manananggal actually only grows bat wings at night when it splits into half, but I was thinking that maybe it's just because she's at Monster High and everyone is really just like a monster all the time there. Like Claudine is a werewolf, other were cats and other were characters always have half animal characteristics, despite the fact that, you know, if you're going to go by real werewolf rules, they'll just be regular old humans, like most of the time, like literally all the time, except for like the one time of the month that they turn into a werewolf. So I'm just gonna keep in the wings just for fun. I think that she's a sort who actually likes to fly around like a lot, but she has to leave the second half behind. So she just turns to her friends and she's like, "Hey guys, can you take care of this for me?" And then she just, whoops, flies off into the distance, leaving her friends to take care of her other half. I feel like one of her main dreams in life is to just be able to fly with her entire body, but like she's just too heavy for that. Maybe her wings are just not strong enough to hold the other half, or maybe like the other half just keeps falling off and she doesn't know how to make it stick enough. Oh my gosh, that sounds so wonky. I love it. If she was a real doll, I want her to be legitimately able to be split in half. Yeah, that's a bit tricky to do, but imagine all the fun scenarios kids could use that for. I feel as if she has a lot of similarities to Draculaura because they're both preppy, pink, and they're both, you know, people eaters. Or supposed to be people eaters. Like vampires, the Manananggal is also vulnerable to salt, garlic, and sunlight. So let's just assume my character here has a very large umbrella just like Draculaura. I gave her bat ears like Draculaura. Honestly, to differentiate the two more, I probably should have given her bigger bat ears. I needed to give her red and pink stripes so that I wouldn't get her mixed up with Draculaura's pink stripes. Now, the first outfit I feel like has a lot of aesthetics at once and is not very labelable, and that's okay with me. I actually really like it, especially the leg warmers and shoes. I also really like the second outfit, which has a more mature vibe thanks to her hair being down and her donning a more tight-fitting pencil skirt. I also like her strawberry shoes with flowers on the ankles. It's so cute. I think that next time that I should just give her eyeshadow because Monster High characters are like yesified AF. I like how her scar is very asymmetrical. It looks kind of weird and not like an actual scar, but I'm not really sure how that sort of thing would work anyways. Maybe in a weird way, if this was a real doll, it would make a child feel better about their own scars if they had a doll that had like that sort of appearance. But I'm not sure about child psychology though, because that doll would also probably be able to split in half and that would be maybe a bit scary for a child, I'm not sure. So I was finishing off and I realized that maybe this character doesn't really stand out from the background that much, but there's a very easy solution to this, which is to just add a border. What you do is, you select the outside of the character, you make a new layer, you reverse that selection so it should be selecting the inside of the character, then you expand the selection by 20 pixels, you fill it up with some pastel color, and bam, she's got a sticker border and now she's differentiated from the background enough. Then I shift things around a little bit, add a name to fill up the empty space, and tada! Overall, I really like her design. I'm really happy about her, but I think she needs a more fleshed out personality. Aside from mellow, calm, survives on only fruit juice smoothies because she's a bad girl. I feel as if her fruit smoothie diet is a bit too similar to Draculaura's vegetarianism, so on second thought, I've decided that she just eats sweet sauce spaghetti every day and it's getting a bit concerning. Maybe because it's red and it has like a lot of meat in it that it can just help satiate her true instincts. I also feel as if for like, you know, one of those Monster High shorts, I don't have any ideas for what she'd be doing in there. Maybe she'd have a short on her trying to figure out how to let down other people easily when they have a crush on her but she doesn't reciprocate. Or maybe she'd have a short where she tries to figure out how to fly with her whole body and then she tries to like duct tape both of her halves together but it just doesn't work out. So her friends need to come up with a solution with her and you know, it's like just a happily ever after ending or something. I don't know. Oh my gosh, my plotting is so great, guys. Oh my gosh. So please give me ideas if you have any. Also, please help with the names. Okay, I just can't channel the cheesiness for the Monster High names, okay? I can only make a pun once every 3 years. So, if you have any suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. If you want to see more videos from this series, or just from me in general, subscribe. I love doing original character designs. Alright. So, have a good day now. Bye, cousins!